Hare Krishna. Thanks so much for joining. So let's do Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Giravardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Giravardhari. Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana, Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana, Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Gyanandasya Gyananjana Shlakya Chakshurmurtayena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Akadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavcha Shri Rupam Sekrajatam Sekana Raghunatunitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuetam Savadhutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Haripriya Pancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kirpa Sindhubevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Go Bhakt Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpatam Vandashi Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madhum Shitaneshram Hariyam Tasat Naram Namaskritya Naram Cheva Nautam Devi Sasvyatam Tato Jemaduriyat Nasta Preshabdrishinitamaksya Bhakti Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavti Neshtaki. Hare Krishna. So, thank you for joining, and we will complete chapter 11 today, and then we will have the overview on Wednesday evening. So, no program on Wednesday morning, overview Wednesday evening. So, let's share this. Hare Krishna. So last time we were discussing that everything is limited and has a shelf life, and everything material, of course, and we are the enjoyed, whereas we think we are the enjoyer. It's one of our problems, and we should surrender to our employer. We are servants, that's our constitutional position, and it's very important that we surrender, and then we can enjoy in the stranded state. It's not a problem, but we must be stranded. Not try to dominate Krishna as we try to dominate Prakriti. We are also Prakriti, and just the slightly superior para apakriti rather than apara prakriti. That's the only difference, but still Prakriti, which means we are enjoyed. And Krishna is the only Purusha, he is the enjoyer. Saeshanar lokismin avtiranaha sav mayaya reme stri ratan kutha stho bhagwan prakrito yatha. So Saha, he, the Supreme Personality Godhead, Esha, all these Narloke, on this planet of human beings, Asmin, on this, Avitaranaha, having appeared, Swa, personal, internal, Mayaya, causeless mercy, Reme, enjoyed, Istri Ratan, woman who is competent to become a wife of the Lord, Ku Tastha, among Bhagwan, the personality Godhead, Prakritaha, mundane, yatha, as if it were. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the Supreme Personality Godhead, Sri Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, appeared on this planet by his internal potency and enjoyed himself amongst competent women as if he were engaging in mundane affairs. Now this is an important thing. It says, it seems like he was engaging in mundane affairs with competent women. But the Lord married and lived like a householder. This is certainly like a mundane affair. But when we learn that he married 16,100 wives and lived with them separately in each and every palace, certainly it is not mundane. And it's not like for a day or two or a month. He lived for a good long time. Therefore, the Lord, living as a householder amongst his competent wives, is never mundane, and his behavior with them is never to be understood as mundane sexual relationship. The women who became the wives of the Lord are certainly not ordinary women. So they're not, like us, Nitya brothers, because to get the Lord as one's husband is a result of many, many millions of births and tapasya. When the Lord appears on different lokas or planets or in this planet of human beings, he displays his transcendental pastime just to attract the conditioned souls to become his eternal servants. So there is opportunity for us to become eternal servants, or Nitya Siddhas, friends, parents, and lovers respectively in the transcendental world, where the Lord eternally reciprocates such exchanges of service. Service is pervertedly represented in the material world and broken untimely, resulting in sad experience. The illusion living being conditioned by material nature cannot understand out of ignorance that all our relations here in mundane world are temporary. These are like one-off relationships. We probably never meet again, never cross each other's path, after this lifetime. That's why we've got to understand that each relationship is just for this life. No matter what we write in poems or whatever, but usually it's just for one lifetime, are temporary and full of inevitabilities. Such relations cannot help us be happy perpetually, but if the same relation is established with the Lord, and He's with us every life after life, then we are transferred to the transcendental world after leaving this material body and become eternally related with Him in the relation we desire. The women amongst whom he lived as their husband are not, therefore, women of this mundane world, but are eternally related with him as transcendental wives, a position which they attain by perfection of devotional service. And the role expansion of Radharani, as we discussed last time, that is their competency. The Lord is Param Brahma, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Conditioned souls seek after perpetual happiness in all places, not only on this earth but also on other planets throughout the universe. because constitutionally a spiritual spark, as he is, can travel to any part of God's creation. But being conditioned by the material modes, he tries to travel in space by spacecraft and so fails to reach his destination. The law of gravitation is binding upon him like the shackles of a prisoner. By other processes, he can reach anywhere. But even if he reaches the highest planet, he cannot attain the perpetual happiness, for he is searching life after life. Because misery is there everywhere in the material world. It doesn't matter high planet, low planet, miseries are there. When it comes to his senses, however, he seeks after Brahman happiness, knowing it for certain that unlimited happiness which he is seeking is never attainable in the material world. As such, the Supreme Being, or Brahman, certainly does not seek his happiness anywhere in the material world, nor can his paraphernalia of happiness be found in the material world. He is not impersonal, because he is the leader and Supreme Being amongst new beings. He cannot be impersonal. He is exactly like us, and he has all the propensities of an individual living being in fullness. So if we are individuals, then why wouldn't the Lord be individuals? Now what, like we not higher than him that we can be individuals, but the Lord has to be some kind of light or some space or something, impersonal effulgence. So if we are individual beings, who can think and has Satchit Anand bodies, then why wouldn't the Lord have that as well? Obviously, because everything's coming from him, so we can have it. He certainly has it. He cannot be impersonal. He is exactly like us, and he has all the propensities of an individual being in fullness. So now the Lord is not coming for us. We are coming from the Lord. He is full, and we are very, very minute. He marries exactly like us, but his marriage is neither mundane nor limited by our experience in the conditioned state. His wife therefore appear like mundane women, but factually they are all transcendental liberated souls, perfect manifestations of internal energy. So the perfect manifestation of internal energy, Krishna does not have relationships or in the like in the material world or with material Nitya Buddhas. His relationships always with his eternal associates, not with the Buddhas like us. We want to associate with him. When Madhya Rasa, then we have to go to the spiritual world and have a transcendental body. 36. Udam bhava pashu namal valguhas Vridavalokaneto madnopi yasam Samhuya chapam ajhat paramado tamasta Yasya indriyam vimahtitam kukhair nasheku. So Udam, very grave, Bhava, expression, Pishun, exciting, Amal, spotless, Valkuhas, beautiful, smiling, Vrida, corner of the eye, Avalok, looking, Nihita, conquered, Madanha, Cupid, and Api also Yasam, whose Samuhaya, being overpowered by Chapam, bows, Ajhat, gave up, Pramat, woman who maddens, Uttamaha, of high grade, Ta, all Yasya, whose Indriyam, senses, Bima, the Tum, to perturb, Kuha, Kahi, by magical feats, Na, never, Sheku, was able. So although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. So the path of salvation or the path of going back to Godhead always forbids the association of women. And the complete Sanatana Dharma or Varnashram Dharma scheme forbids or restricts association with women. How then can one be accepted as a Supreme Personality of Godhead who is addicted to more than 16,000 wives? So that's a contradiction, or at least it seems like a contradiction. This question may be relatively raised by inquisitive persons really anxious to know about the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. And to answer such questions, the sages at Naimisharanya have discussed the transcendental character of the Lord in this and in following verses. It is clear herein that the feminine attractive features which can conquer Cupid or even the supermost tolerant Lord Shiva could not conquer the senses of the Lord. Cupid's business is to invoke mundane lust. The whole universe is moving, being agitated by Cupid's arrow. The activities of the world are being carried on by the central attraction of male and female. A male is searching after a mate to his liking, and the female is looking after a suitable male. And this is like across the kingdom. The animals, the insects, they're all, behaving like this. It's just natural attraction that, we are, this is a blueprint that we are born with. A male is searching after a mate to his liking, and the female is looking after a suitable male. That is the way of material stimulus. And as soon as the male is combined with the female, the material bondage of the living being is at once tightly interlocked by sex relation. And as a result of this, both the males and females' attraction for sweet home, motherland, bodily offspring, society, and friendship, and accumulation of wealth becomes the illusory field of activity. So certainly, we want to gain so much, we want so much, and then have lots of friends and in high places and get-togethers. Like there's enough to keep us busy for the rest of our lives, and to see our children educated, married, grandchildren. So much to do, not enough time. And thus, a false but indefatigable attraction for the temporary material existence, which is full of miseries, is manifest. And thus a false but indefatigable attraction for the temporary material existence, which is full of miseries, is manifest. Those who are therefore on the path of salvation for going back home, back to Godhead, are especially advised by all scripture instruction to become free from such paraphernalia of material attraction. That is possible only by the association of the devotee of the Lord, who are called Mahatmas. But it's also mentioned that we don't give up our responsibilities. It's like the Raj Rishis. They were serving God and they were serving their Praja citizens as well. So similarly, we could consider Raj Rishis our own little world. We serve Krishna and we serve our family as well. So they weren't just rishis and they weren't just Raj rishis. So we serve our family members and serve Krishna, not just the one. We have responsibilities that we should be doing also. That's, especially Grihasthas, it's important to follow your responsibilities too. And this is possible only by association devotees of the Lord, who are called Mahatmas. Cupid throws his arrow upon the living beings to make them mad after the opposite sex, whether the party is actually beautiful or not. Cupid's provocations are going on even among beastly societies who are all ugly looking in the estimation of the civilized nations. That's the thing, the beasts, whatever they are, like say, even insects, they might be really ugly, but they have attraction to the opposite gender. Cupid's provocations are going on even among beastly societies who are ugly looking in the estimation of civilized nations. Thus, Cupid's influence is exerted even amongst the ugliest forms, and to speak of the most perfect beauties. And what to speak of the most perfect beauties? Lord Shiva, who is considered to be the most tolerant, was also struck by Cupid's arrow, because he also became mad after Mohini incarnation of the Lord and acknowledged himself to be defeated. Cupid, however, was himself captivated by the grave and exciting dealings of the goddess of fortune, and he voluntarily gave up his bow and arrow in a spirit of prostration. Such was the beauty and attraction of the queens of Lord Krishna. So such was the beauty and attraction of the queens of Lord Krishna. So all 16,108 wives, Lakshmis, they're that beautiful. Yet they could not disturb the transcendental senses of the Lord. This is because the Lord is all perfect Atmaram, all self-sufficient. He does not require anyone's extraneous help for his personal satisfaction. So Krishna is looking outwards for his gratification. He is fully satisfied with himself. Therefore, the queens could not satisfy the Lord by their feminine attractiveness. Like in the material, we say half, better half, and the wife's better half, like that. So we considered one unit, two halves that make a unit. So to be complete, there has to be a husband and a wife. That's that's the idea anyway. The husband and wife, they become complete as a unit. But Krishna doesn't need to be complete. He's already complete by himself. This is because the Lord is all perfect, Atmaram, all self-sufficient. He does not require anybody's extraneous help for his personal satisfaction. Therefore, the queens could not satisfy the Lord by their feminine attractiveness, but they satisfied him by their sincere affection and service. That's what Krishna is looking for. Not attraction, he's looking for sincere affection and service. And this is what we have to give. Priti Purvikam. Bhajtam Priti Purvikam. Only by unalloyed transcendental loving service could they satisfy the Lord. And the Lord was pleased to treat them as wives in reciprocation. Thus, being satisfied by their unalloyed service only, the Lord reciprocated the service just like a devout husband. Otherwise, he had no business becoming the husband of so many wives. He is the husband of everyone, but to one who accepts him as such, he reciprocates. This unalloyed affection of the Lord is never to be compared to mundane lust. It is purely transcendental, and the grave dealings which the queens displayed in natural feminine ways were also transcendental, because the feelings were expressed out of transcendental ecstasy. Not mundane ecstasy, transcendental ecstasy. It is already explained in the previous verse that the Lord appeared like a mundane husband, but factually his relation with his wives was transcendental, pure, and unconditioned by the modes of material nature. So it was not a lusty relationship as such. It was the relation of the souls rather than the body as we have in the material world. So see if we can add anything to 36. Actually, there's lots. I think we just see if anything relevant to us at the moment. So just to relationships with Krishna consciousness purely based on sense gratification, and they can be destructive. Relationships with Krishna consciousness will not necessarily be always blissful, but they are described as a thorn which takes out another thorn. This applies to us. It takes out the thorn of lust with the thorn of grist ashram. This way we transcend the level of sensuousness in relationships. The relationship continues in the mode of goodness, because that's what we are trying to follow, the mode of goodness, then helping each other in Krishna consciousness. So we're following a relationship we're following rules and regulations. So that's in mode of goodness. They rise above Cupid's arrows. Don't play with Cupid. Don't play with fire. Fire, it will burn you, because we try to live in this world and we take chances, risks, and it says will burn you. Remain absorbed in Krishna's beauty, remain absorbed in Krishna's glory. That will protect us. Lord Shiva destroyed Cupid. What to say of Krishna? He can destroy anyone. And so if we remain in Krishna's protection, then we also will be under his shelter and we will always be protected by him. Because you see so much going on in the material world, people, lives destroyed, families destroyed, relationships destroyed. Stay under Krishna's protection, and we can be protected. Tam ayam manite loko hi sangam api sanginam atam pam yena manujam vyaprin vanam yato buddha. So tam unto Lord Krishna, I am all these common men. Manyate, do speculate within the mind. Lokha, the conditioned souls. He is certainly a sangam, unattached, api, in spite of. Sanginam, affected. Atam, self. Anupam, yena, by comparison with the self. Manujam, ordinary man. Vyaprin, vanam, being engaged in. Yatha, because. Abhudaha, foolish because of ignorance. So the common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of the ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. So these verses are for people, who consider Krishna as somebody attracted to women or as an ordinary person. So they can learn from this. Excuse me. The word Abhudaha is significant here. Due to ignorance only, the foolish mundane wranglers misunderstand the Supreme Lord and spread their foolish imaginations amongst innocent persons by propaganda. The Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is the original primeval personality of Godhead, and when he was personally present before the eyes of everyone, he displayed full-fledged divine potency in every field of activities. As we have already explained in the first verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he is completely independent to act however he likes, because he's God. But all his actions are full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. Only the foolish mundaners misunderstand him, unaware of his eternal form of knowledge and bliss, which is confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita and Upanishads. His different potencies work in a perfect plan of natural sequence, and doing everything by the agency of his different potencies. He remains eternally the supreme independent. When he descends to the material world by his causeless mercy to different living beings, he does so by his own potency. He is not subject to any condition of the material modes of nature, and so he is not dominated by any modes, and he doesn't come with any kind of karma. They say that we come with nothing and we leave with nothing. That's the general belief, that we come to this world, khali haath aaye the, khali haath jayenge. But that's not completely true. We come to this material world with karma and we leave with more karma. Either more or less, but we definitely leave with karma, we come with karma. So we do bring something with us. And if we can take bhakti with us and bring bhakti with us, that's even better. So when he descends to the material world by his cause mercy, different living, he does so by his own potency. He is not subject to any condition of the material modes of nature, and he descends as he is originally. The mental speculators misunderstand him and the Supreme Person, and they consider his impersonal features as inexplicable, Brahman to be all. Such a conception is also the product of conditioned life, because they cannot go beyond their own personal capacity. Therefore, one who considers the Lord on the level of one's limited potency is only a common man. Such a man cannot be convinced that the personality of Godhead is always unaffected by the modes of material nature. He cannot understand that the sun is always unaffected by infectious matter. The mental speculators compare everything from the standpoint of experimental knowledge of their own selves. Thus, when the Lord is found to act in an ordinary person, like an ordinary person in matrimonial bondage, they consider him to be like one of them, without considering that the Lord can at once marry 16,000 wives or more. Due to pure fund of knowledge, they accept one side of the picture while disbelieving the other. This means that due to ignorance, only they always think Lord Krishna is like themselves and make their own conclusion, which are absurd and unauthentic from the version of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So it's like a situation of a Mr. Frog who doesn't know what the ocean looks like, and he himself lives in the well. And when a friend comes to see him, who's just been to the ocean, and he's trying to explain to him what the ocean looks like, and he's trying to guess, oh, is the ocean like, is it twice big as this well? Is it like 10 times bigger than this well? He can only think in terms of his well, what he has seen, where he lives. That's his capacity. He cannot imagine what an ocean could be like. So everything is based around, centered around his, the well that he's living in. So this is a situation that we use our own imagination, our own capacity. We can only think within that realm. This is why we need scriptures, because scriptures are transcendental. They have transcendental information that we don't have. So we need to approach higher authorities and get this knowledge from the scriptures, because when we start guessing, we have our own capacity to make our observations or estimations. So Krishna's actions are always full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. They never cause misery, although we may misunderstand and misinterpret them to be negative or reversal. So we misunderstand things, reversals in our life, but they are never meant to be like that. We should never see Krishna as a command, comparing him to ourselves, comparing the level of his activity to our activity. We only have limited potencies, so should not speculate. So we should take shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra for knowledge and guidance. Anyone who makes this mistake will never be able to enter the pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So don't think from your own imagination. Learn from the scriptures. This is the essence of this verse. So two more, 38. So I won't do the synonyms. Etad ishanam ishasya prakirti sthopi tad gunahi na yujayate sad atmasthe yatha buddhistad asharya. So this is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. So in the Vedas and Vedic literature, Shruti and Smriti, it is affirmed that in the divinity there is nothing material. He is transcendental. The supreme cognizant, Hari, or the person of Godhead, is a supreme transcendental person situated beyond the range of material affection. These statements are also confirmed even by Acharya Shankar. One may argue that his relation with the gods of fortune may be transcendental, but what about his relation with the Yadu dynasty, being born in that family, or is killing the non-believers like Jarasandh and other Asurs directly in contact with the modes of material nature? Now the answer is that the divinity of the person of Godhead is never in contact with the qualities of material nature in any circumstances. Actually, he is in contact with such qualities because he is the ultimate source of everything. Yet he is above the actions of such qualities. So when we say in contact, it means he's not controlled by them. He is known therefore as Yogeshwara, or the master of mystic power, or in other words, the all-powerful. Even his learned devotees are not affected by the influence of the material modes. The great 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan all came from greatly rich and aristocratic families, but when they adopted a life of mendicants at Vrindavan, superficially they appeared to be in wretched conditions of life, but factually they were the richest of all in spiritual values. And that story about Sanatana Goswami, such as Mahabhagavatas or first-grade devotees, although moving amongst men, are not contaminated by honor or insult, hunger or satisfaction, sleep or wakefulness, which are all resultant actions of the three modes of material nature. Similarly, some of them are engaged in worldly dealings, yet are unaffected. Unless these neutralities of life are there, one cannot be considered situated in transcendence. So, as long as we are affected by the dualities, we cannot, we can consider ourselves in transcendence. The divinity and associates are on the same transcendental plane, and the glories are always sanctified by the action of Yogamaya, or the internal potency of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are always transcendental, even if they are sometimes found to have fallen in their behavior. The Lord emphatically declares in the Bhagavad-Gita, and here's the reason, that even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to a previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being engaged 100% in the devotional service of the Lord. So we are allowed to make mistakes, but as long as we learn from our mistakes and showing that we're not going to make that mistake again, the Lord protects him always because of his rendering service unto him, and the fallen conditions are to be considered accidental and temporary. They will vanish in no time. And let's quickly just read the last one. So tam minere bal muda strenam chanu vrit raha apraman vido bhartur ishram mateyo yatha. So the simple and delicate women truly thought that the Lord Sri Krishna, the beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. That's how he behaved with them externally. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of the husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. So Krishna puts everybody in illusion accordingly. Even the transcendental wives of Lord Sri Krishna did not know completely the unfathomable glories of the Lord. This ignorance is not mundane because there is some action of the internal potency of the Lord in the exchange of feeling between him and his eternal associates. The Lord exchanges transcendental relations in 5 ways as proprietor, master, friend, son, and lover, and each of these pastimes he plays fully by potency of Yogamaya, the eternal potency. He plays exactly like an equal friend with the cowherd boys, or even with friends like Arjun. He plays like a son in the presence of Yashoda Mata. He plays exactly like a lover in the presence of cowherd damsels, and he plays exactly like a husband in the presence of the queens of Dwarka. Such devotees of the Lord never think of the Lord as the supreme, but think of him exactly as a common friend, pet son, or lover, or husband, very much dear to the heart and soul. Because he bewilders them like that. Yashoda might, although she's seen the Brahman in his mouth, but that they still don't believe that he's God, he's my son. That is the relation between the Lord and his transcendental devotees, who acts as his devotees in the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. When the Lord descends, he does so along with his entourage to display a complete picture of the transcendental world, where pure love and devotion for the Lord prevails without any mundane tinge of lording it over the creation of Lord. Such devotees of the Lord are all liberated souls, perfect representation of the marginal internal potency, in complete negation of the influence of the external potency. The wives of the Lord Krishna were made to forget the immeasurable glories of the Lord by internal potency, so that there might not be any flow of exchange, and they took it for granted that the Lord was henpecked husband, always following them in lonely places. In other words, even the personal associates of the Lord do not know him perfectly well. So what do the thesis writers or mental speculators know about the transcendental glories of the Lord? The mental speculators present, therefore, different theses as to his becoming the cause of the creation, the ingredients of the creation, or the material and efficient causes of the creation, etc. But all this is but partial knowledge about the Lord. Factually, they are as ignorant as the common man. The Lord can be known by the mercy of the Lord only, and by no other means. But since the dealings of the Lord with his wives are based on pure transcendental love and devotion, the wives are all transcendental plane, are on the transcendental plane without material contamination. Hare Krishna. So the Lord plays his part beautifully, completely, and he bewilders his associates, so they can relish that relationship with him properly and don't think him as the supreme Godhead like that. And he also bewilders us because we want to be controllers and proprietors. So he bewilders us with Maya, Mahamaya, so we can enjoy our life. So he's so kind that he fulfills all desires. If you want to be in relationship with him, then he will give you that potency, or that illusion. And if you want to enjoy by yourself, then he'll give you that illusion as well. But which is a better one? Obviously, the one we can be closer to him. So thank you so much, and I'd like to hear from Hina Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the class. I think for me, some of the points that I picked out were around how it's to become free from material desires is quite key on this path. And if we're progressing well spiritually, then our material desires should be reducing. Otherwise, our material desires are binding, and they can dominate our thoughts. I think we all know that it's explained in Bhagavad-Gita that at the time of death, one's state of mind will determine where your next life situation, essentially where you may go next, essentially. And so what your thoughts are at the time of death is based on what you think about during. It's the sum of your thoughts during life, essentially. So it's very critical to try to dovetail our desires into more spiritual, make them spiritualized, basically spiritual desires rather than material desires for that reason. And then there were points around how Krishna is personal. He is personal, and also his relationships are personal too. He wants to enjoy the different rasas and different relationships with each jiv, each soul. And many people misunderstand him. When he was on earth, and also modern day as well, people are limited in their understanding of the Lord, thinking him to be like an ordinary man, or an ordinary person without having proper knowledge based on Shastra. But I think it's also outlined in the latter verse that it's also part of the Lord's glory that he remains hidden or misunderstood to those who don't want to know him, unlike devotees who can get to know him and can be realized through devotional service. And that, I guess, that's the path here. And that's the only way, really, through devotional service, that we're able to understand the truth of Krishna's birth, life, and his pastimes. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, and through his devotional service, Krishna says you can come back to me, come back home. That's the only method to go back home. Thank you so much. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. I think these verses again illustrate that the relationships that are built up in this material world are transitory, temporary, and at the end of this period of our existence, we will leave those relationships behind. And yes, we may come across those relationships, but they may have a different material body in the next life. But how many of us know who we have met previously and been able to indicate this was a connection as was in a previous life? And hence, I think the effort needs to be made in the propagation, the cultivation, and the development of that transcendental relationship, which is the eternal relationship which we need to develop. And it was indicated that, we come into this world empty-handed, and we allegedly go empty-handed. but factually, it's not true. We take our bhakti with us, and our karma comes with us. And if we engage in positive karmic behaviors, those positive karmas will go with us into the next realm. And we're trying to now diminish our reincarnative aspects of birth and rebirth and death and rebirth. And hence, in this process of becoming purified, Krishna gives us very clear indicators of how we need to interact in the world. Be of the world, but not in the world. And it's said that there are things which are mundane, the relationships that we have, even with our partners, yeah, they are temporary. There is a preoccupation with the things, the basic things. Of course, we need food, shelter, sleep, etc. But even Srila Prabhupada made a lot of emphasis on how people are fixated towards the madness of Cupid. Cupid will fire his arrow almost indiscriminately sometimes, and that attraction, that madness for the opposite sex occurs. And hence, that attachment, if it's done in a very pure way, as Krishna did with his 16,100 wives, where there was devotion, affection, love, and that conjugal love was, of course, there. But it wasn't in that perverted, lustful form that predominates in the material Western society that we reside in. Krishna indicates he's husband to every one of us. And we have to learn that, behind his potency is Radharani. We have to engage in the modes of goodness. And even that mode of goodness should be such that when we are with people, and hence when we are with people in our congregations or in an arena where there is association with the opposite sex, that we are considerate, sensitive, humble, and sincere with our thoughts and our deeds. And hence, Krishna will perceive that we are operating in the mode of goodness. We have to develop these virtuous qualities because for too many lives, our lives have been taken up by the qualities of passion and ignorance. And hence, we need to reassert those values of positive bhakti and those which will take us forward rather than regress us into negative return back to this material world. It was like that example. We have to be mindful of the frog that croaks in the well, that it's a drop of water that he is familiar with. We have been imparted with significant knowledge, wisdom, so that it should no longer be a drop of water in the well. We should be aware that this is part of the bigger, wider picture, the ocean of transcendental mercy. And then, hence, this is not a piece of sand is an additional bit of wisdom. Another bit of wisdom is another piece of sand. And hence we grow that Sahara desert in our hearts and our minds. We have to work at becoming total devotees and seek the mercy of Krishna. Krishna's ways are bewildering. Lord is bewildering, but have faith, sadhana, and compassion in this approach, and we will surely reap the rewards. Although we don't seek rewards and fruits of our actions, bet your bottom dollar he will glance an eye at anything you do in the service of humanity. And in the service of humanity, we're serving divinity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And also, he is the perfect husband, perfect son, perfect friend. We try to be, but it's just not possible because we do think of ourselves as well. We try and think of ourselves sometimes more than the other person, especially like in friendship, that we can let people down because sometimes the balance is not there. Reciprocation is natural, it happens. We just don't have the capacity to behave in that perfect way. But only Krishna, he's sitting in the heart, so he knows the bhav of who is reciprocating with, and he knows exactly how to deal with them. Whereas we can easily let people down, or people can let us down, and that's why relationships break up. Thank you. If anybody else like to say anything, please unmute yourself. Otherwise, we'll go to Radharan.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, a new week and new lessons coming from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to all of us. We've learned in these verses that Lord's wives were also transcendental wives. They're not like, how we are in this world. So when people think of Lord, they start thinking, they can just map what they see in themselves on Lord, but no, Lord is beyond, Lord is spiritual. His pastimes are spiritual in the spiritual world, they're transcendental, and when he descends to this earth in Vrindavan, he's transcendental. Even at that time, we know how many leelas he did. Start from his, the leela with the Putana. He was only seven days old or something. That was done. So just think that never equate your strengths or your abilities with the Lord. And also, Lord and his queens, they are satisfied with the sincere service, devotion service of the Lord. They are doing it, so we have to emulate the same qualities in our devotion service as well. And these leelas are to attract our devotion service, the leelas which we read and we hear, and we have to learn so many lessons from them. And the people with the poor fund of knowledge, they think that they are Lord themselves, which is very wrong. We should never think like that. We are just a little spark of whatever Krishna has. We have got tiny spark of that within us. And that is given to us to actually enhance the devotion service and do good karma in this life. Because whatever the bag of karma we bring with us to this life, if we do bhakti, if we hear Lord's name, chant holy names, then that is going to take away the impurity from us, and that is going to negate all the bad negative karma, and we will take the positivity with us and the bhakti with us. This is what we have to aspire for in our day-to-day lives. If we remember that, then we don't have to worry. We will be doing good karma, because when Krishna is in the center, you won't do anything wrong. You won't even say anything wrong, or even imagine anything which is not said to be within the good guidelines of a good human being, a good devotee. And Yogmaya, she's always helping the devotees to engage in the service of the Lord. And Mahamaya in this world is Mahamaya, the same energy in spiritual world is Yogmaya. Mahamaya, she tests us in this world, that how good we are. Like we have exams in every sphere of our life. So Mahamaya is here, our teacher or examiner, we can say. She's just examining our bhakti, our devotion, our sincerity of a devotee in this world. And lastly, I would like to just say that, like there are sadhana siddhas who have perfected their devotion service in this life, so that they can become Nitya Siddhas. And there are Kripa Siddhas. Kripa Siddhas like Jagayan Madhai, and many devotees, and we have seen in the past times who got the causeless mercy. Jagai and Madhai were very fallen souls. They started having kind of hurting Nityananda Prabhu in the Maya Navadvip Dham. But then again, Lord's merciful nature, Lord blessed them, and they came to their true selves, and they became devotees of the Lord. And then there are Nitya Siddhas. Nitya Siddhas are like Yashoda and Damodar. Damodar month has started, and they are always in the same. There are bhaktas who aspire to be the parents of Krishna, and they are given the good fortune, due to their acquiring of those qualities, that they are able to become parents of Krishna when Krishna descends on this earth. So Lord is proving to us through these pastimes that there's no dearth of benedictions or boons he can give to us. It's just we got to have the right frame of mind. We have to understand the the little keys to the bhakti, which is surrender, faith, and just keep doing what we are doing diligently. Do whatever we like doing in bhakti among the 9 processes. Do even one process sincerely, and that is going to please Krishna. So endeavor has to be from our part. Mercy is flowing freely from Lord. We just have to grab it. So in this Damodar month, I pray that all of you increase your bhakti, increase your devotion in Krishna consciousness, and you enjoy this very sweetest month, which is very dear to Srimati Radharani, as it is Damodar's month. And let us enjoy and offer our lamps daily to Krishna. And I will put some information if any of you is not familiar regarding offering of the lamp in the group. So happy Damodar month to all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So just finally, Srila Prabhupada explained that Bhagavatam is revealing Krishna's greatness, his greatness in terms of his achievements, as we have been reading, his greatness in reciprocation, as we read, and with loving his devotees. His greatness in his greatness is in whatever he does is blissful. This should give us the impetus to surrender to Krishna completely in this lifetime. And that's what I was saying at the beginning, that as servants, we should surrender to him, and then we can move forward, we can advance in bhakti, and we can also go back home. But surrender is very, very important. And the more we learn about Krishna, about his greatness, about his opulence as well, like in Bhagavad-Gita, his magnanimity, his greatness, the more we learn, the more we can, we have the impetus to surrender to him. So let's do that. So thank you so much. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go. Hari Hari.
Hare Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.